Welcome everyone. This is Alveoly E-learning. My name is MK Obin. I'm one of your course instructors at Alveoly E-learning. The main purpose of Alveoly E-learning is to make learning simple and easier for all students, irrespective of where you are. All you have to do is to get access to a mobile phone, a computer or a laptop with an internet. Then you just sign up to www.alveoly.com. Okay, then you just get your pen and paper. When you log in, you have access to various courses. Then with the course that you have your interest in or you have difficulties in, then you sign up to those courses. All right, so intracellular fluid is made up of Ch.2, which forms the fluid compartment of cytoplasm, whilst extracellular fluid is made up of intravascular fluid, which is the fluid within the blood vessel, and interstitial fluid, which is the fluid in between two cells. Okay, so basically that is that for intracellular fluid and extracellular fluid. So that's the introduction for it. So on our next introduction, we are going to look at what? Electrolytes. Introduction to electrolytes. So from our previous lesson, we were going to talk about fluid and electrolyte balance, and we did only introduction to the fluid. So now we are coming to look at the introduction of what? Electrolytes. We need to understand some basic things to help us to understand the full topic itself. So now we are going to talk about electrolytes. Before that, in the senior secondary school, we learned about ions. And we said an ion is formed when an atom loses or gains an electron. So when we say ions, ions are positively, so they are positively or negatively charged particles. Formed when an atom loses or gains an electron. So with this basic understanding, it is going to help us to know what electrolytes are. Okay, so under ions, we have types of ions. So we have anions, which are negatively charged particles. An example include chlorine. So we have chlorines here, -1, then sulfur. Okay, then we have cations, which are positively charged particles. So example is sodium, calcium, then we have aluminium. So all these are positively charged particles. Okay. However, when these charged particles, either chlorine or whatever, they are dissolved in water, and it causes the flow of an electron, then we term it as what? Electrolytes. So electrolytes are basically these components or these ions which are dissolved in water and has led to the flow of electrons. So flow of electrons. Okay, so electrolyte comes from the word electro, which means electrons, and electrons deals with what? The flow of what? Electricity or electrons or electronics deals with the flow of electrons. Okay, so basically electrolytes are these substances, either the positively charged particles or the negatively charged particles, that have been dissolved in what? Water, that has led to the flow of what? Electrons. And the cells in our body needs the flow of electrons to allow the cells to function what? Effectively. So for us to understand how these electrolytes they work, we need to understand each of the electrolytes which are present in our body. So basically, electrolytes, or to talk about electrolyte, the only thing we are going to look at is to look at what these elements or these ions which are dissolved in water. Our body requires a specific level of this electrolyte in our body. Okay, then for instance, sodium. Okay, the normal level of sodium in our body is 135 millimole per liter to 145 millimole per liter. So anytime your sodium level is higher than normal, it can result in certain signs and symptoms. Anytime your sodium level is lower than the normal, it can also result in certain signs and symptoms. So basically, all that we are going to look at in electrolyte imbalance, so that is why we use the word imbalance, is that when there is a low level of this electrolyte or when there is a high level of this electrolyte, what are some of the signs and symptoms that are presented by patients? And by knowing that, it is also going to help us to know how to manage our patients very well. So basically, that is all that we are going to talk about under fluid and electrolyte imbalance. So under fluid, we talk about intracellular fluid and extracellular fluid. When there is high level of this fluid, what happens to the body, or what are some of the signs and symptoms that are presented in the body? Then we came to electrolytes. Under electrolytes, we've seen numerous of these elements, which is sodium, calcium, aluminium, chlorine, sulfur. These electrolytes are supposed to be within a specific range in our body. However, when they are more than or less than in our body, it leads to certain signs and symptoms. And basically, that is all that we are going to discuss under fluid and electrolyte imbalance. Thank you very much.